Hey guys, today will be my long-awaited review of Exbolt 65. I actually filmed this intro a while back and then ended up really liking the string. Spent some more time with it just to confirm I really liked it, to kind of solidify my thoughts, and I went out and bought a reel. So if you know that I bought a reel, you know that it's real, I guess. Before I kind of do my typical breakdown of what I like and don't like and the characteristics of the string, I kind of want to read something off of the Yonex website. So we're gonna hop onto my laptop and we're gonna talk about the string. I'll switch over in a bit because it's I think it's something that a lot of the Exbolt 65 reviews I've seen have kind of just overlooked, and I think it's actually a really big part of the string. Alright guys, so this is the initial launch or announcement of this Exbolt 65, right? So the part that I want to talk about, which I feel was very overlooked or just not even mentioned in some reviews, was okay, so it comes with the forged fiber, which we saw originally from the 63, which is what gives it that insane durability considering how thin the 63 is. And then the 65 basically has that, as well as the Elasticity Outer, which is what they're calling it, which increases hold and improves control. And I feel no one talked about, sorry, I was looking at the camera, I feel no one talked about that. And then they seriously talk about it, look, so Elasticity Outer is added, right? And then the Elasticity Outer is a coating with enhanced, I don't know where my English is, but it's enhanced flexibility achieved by applying nanoalloy technology. So the result is a combination of quick repulsion, durability, control. Okay, I want to see. I'm just making sure that I didn't miss anything. But yeah, this is a huge deal. The way that I see this is that basically they just took Exbolt 63 and then they just added a new layer on top of it. So you can kind of imagine Exbolt 65 as being Exbolt 63 with another coating on top of it, because obviously this is just conjecture, right? But if that's how they make Exbolt 65, then you're basically getting an Exbolt 63 with other stuff on top of it, which is really neat to think of. But if it's not they make it separately, it's still a big deal because the forged fiber gives it the durability, and they claim it also gives it the repulsion, but then the Elasticity Outer on top increases hold, improves overall control. So in my experience, actually no, this is probably better for the main camera view, so we'll switch back over. But I wanted to just get this out of the way because I think no one talks about this. I think this is the biggest selling point. I think no one has brought forward this point of view where, you know what, maybe Exbolt 65 is actually just 63 with this outer coating on top. I mean, it's really not that big of a stretch considering how close their gauges are. So, I don't know, food for thought. So yeah, I wanted to talk about it because I think the addition of Elasticity Outer really changes it up. Contradictory to what I just said about Exbolt 63, Exbolt 65 just being Exbolt 63 with additional stuff on it, which again is my conjecture, not true or confirmed. Exbolt 65 plays so differently to Exbolt 63. For the longest time, I thought I liked hard string, because I started out with BG80, which is quite a hard string, and then I tried Aerobite Boost, which are a little bit softer, but I didn't really like them at the time. And then I liked Exbolt 63, and then my comparison, Exbolt 63 is definitely a better version of BG80. That's how I felt. And then I think I only picked up Exbolt 65 because of the Exbolt moniker, because it was the newest string. I wanted to try it out. I wanted to eventually give a review. I think if someone had told me Exbolt 65 is actually quite a medium feeling string, I don't think I would have picked it up, which would have been doing me a huge disservice because I ended up really liking Exbolt 65. Because one of my main issues with Exbolt 63 were, one, it's super unforgiving. So if I'm playing on a really bad day, I'm just gonna feel it all on my shoulder because it doesn't have any give. It's super hard. If you're not hitting the sweet spot, it just feels like crap, right? And my second issue with it was the repulsion really gets in the way of trying to play like net shots or trying to play anything with control. And you know, as I switched over to mainly playing doubles now and playing a lot of like front court because that's what I like and that's where I want to focus, having that control and not basically min-maxing repulsion became more and more important to me. So when I switched over to Exbolt 65, I kind of fixed both of those issues. And that's what it kind of felt like, which is why at first, when I first bought like, you know, just 2 packs of strings just to replace my rackets with, I was like, wait, like I don't want to restring back to Exbolt 63. I want to keep using this racket, and I want to keep using this string. And so when my Exbolt 63 reel finally ran out, it was down to its like last 7 meters or whatever. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna buy Exbolt 65. I think I really like this. I restrung with Exbolt 65 on my rackets, get a new like fresh string on it, and I still had that same experience. And what experience is that you may be asking? It's basically, I feel like I'm getting like 90% of the repulsion I was getting from the 63. Obviously better durability, but I'm getting like a lot better like touch. And I think it's because it is a medium string, so I am able to experience a little bit of shuttle hold, which has made all the difference when it comes to like spinning nets, to like, you know, double, more flattish, fast nets. It has helped me with placement, and also the medium string has kind of helped me feel a bit more confident in the backcourt. I feel like Exbolt 65 is a way more forgiving string. I feel like even if I'm not perfectly hitting the sweet spot, I can still produce power, and that has kind of helped me be more comfortable in rotations in the back. And I'll obviously include some clips of me like smashing from both the midcourt and the rear court. And of course, like I've been training in the meantime, so that might have played a factor into it too. But I feel overall, since I've swapped over to Exbolt 65, I found a string that's more suitable for me. I've been able to play like all the shots that I know more consistently with better quality. And I really think it just came down from switching from like a hard string to a medium string, because like that difference has kind of helped me place the shuttle where I want, and kind of has helped me, like, it's weird because when I swing the racket with Exbolt 63, I feel like there's very little contact time between the string bed and the shuttle. And of course that's expected, right? Exbolt 63 was designed to be super repulsive. And I thought that was good. And I didn't realize how a little bit of shuttle hold could help me in terms of both power generation and control. And I feel like that's a contradictory statement to make, but that's honestly like really how I feel. Because like when I swing with the 65, it feels like the shuttle is on my string bed for a little bit longer, and it helps catapult it forward. I don't know if maybe I'm out of touch with like reviewing stuff. It's been a while since I've made like a YouTube video like this, but that's like really how I feel. So I'm gonna cut now, and we're gonna talk about like the individual aspects. And I want to start talking about, I want to start with things that actually are not so positive about Exbolt 65. I think I am also like keeping this, or I'm gonna focus this video mostly around my impressions of it, as well as comparisons of it to 63, because I think that's what a lot of people are really most interested about. So I think the one area that the 65 lacks in comparison to the 63 is obviously repulsion, right? So still 63 remains the most repulsive string I have ever used. 63 still remains like super effortless to drive with. You know, anything that requires like short wrist action, 63 remains on top. That's not to say 65 isn't a repulsive string. It is, but just in comparison to what I think is like the most repulsive string out right now, at least from the Yonex lineup, it's like a second place. Everything else about the 65 I quite like, right? So this is gonna sound again contradictory, but I feel like my drives are better with the 65, and simply because we're not min-maxing repulsion again, right? I feel like, and also it might be because of training, so you gotta keep that in mind. But I think in the last few months that I've used this, I've been using 65 since maybe like mid-September, like mid-September 15th ish, recording this November 21, so that's what, September, October, November, right? So since I've started using Exbolt 65 exclusively, I feel like my drives have been a lot sharper. I feel like I am more confident in, doing drive battles. I feel like I still have this issue that sometimes during a doubles rally I get tense and I'll start to use a lot of shoulder instead of like remaining loose and using, your fingers and your forehand. I feel like even if I tense up and I begin to just start using my shoulder, the Exbolt 65 still lets me like drive and play shots better simply because it is medium and simply because it's not like maxing repulsion, so I'm able to kind of like place the shuttle a little bit better. Another point is because of that Elasticity Outer, I feel like I'm able to play my drives a bit flatter. I feel like with the Exbolt 63, like your drives are flat only if your racket positioning from the very beginning is good. I think I've been able to play shots like slightly late or slightly out of position and still have them like a little bit better simply because like I have a little bit of time, or I would say not a little bit, I would say I have a little bit more margin of error when it comes to using Exbolt 65, and that's helped me maintain drive rallies as well. When it comes to smashes, like I know that Yonex markets, I think, the 65 more for heavy hitters than the Exbolt 63, and I think that's the general like wisdom, right? That like thicker gauge strings are more for heavy smashers, but I feel like in this case, I think the 63 is actually a better contender. I think that if you have like for me on a good day, like on a perfect day, if I'm like hitting the sweet spot every time, if my timing is fully correct, if I'm like fully embracing the kinetic chain and utilizing it to its maximum potential, I think my smashes would be better with the 63. But that is a very, unlikely situation. If I'm being honest with myself, like I still struggle with the kinetic timing, so like using the full body and throwing it into a swing. For the longest time I've been using just like my shoulder, because I'm like a bigger guy. I could have gone away with it, but as I get like better and better, like I need to start actually learning the proper timing. And with the 63, like I still struggled, but the 65, again, being a more medium-ish string and having I feel like a more forgiving sweet spot, I feel like I'm able to get away with having incorrect timing or not as good technique and still play quality smashes. So I'll probably insert smashing clips here, but again, this might be also like my gym routine. I got back on creatine, I've been taking protein powder, so that also might be it. But like I'm very confident playing these smashes, and they sound good. Obviously the 63 sounds better. The thinner gauge to me produces a higher zing or a sharper sound, and I like that, but I still produce quite a nice sound from the 65. And obviously sound doesn't matter when it comes to like how fast or how steep your smash is, but it, for me, and I think from a lot of players, it's still a good indicator if you've played a quality shot. 65 being a thicker, albeit very slightly thicker gauge than 63, it is going to produce a slightly muted sound, but yeah, that's what I would say about smashes. When it comes to like, I'm going to lump nets and like the front court area kind of into the same position. So like what I mean by like nets is like anything like this or like this, so either a singles net or a doubles net, and then anything in the front court area, so like net kills, like interceptions, that kind of thing. I think for all of these areas I would pick the 65 over the 63, simply because the 65 does give you a little bit of that extra shuttle hold net control. I don't want to like sound like a broken record, but like for me it was like mind-blowing how that little bit of like shuttle hold helped me so much. For like single type nets, so when I'm either playing singles or if like the opposing team has like a huge gap in the middle, I'll play a singles net to get the lift, right? And I feel like I'm a lot more confident with the singles net in using the 65. I feel like I'm pulling off spinning nets a lot more often. I feel like I'm placing them a lot better. I have a few clips and I'll put them here, I think. And then for doubles nets, which is, you know, more of what you're gonna see, of course, because it's faster and flatter, I feel like, again, this helps me too, because I feel like with the 63, the moment the shuttle hit the string, it would bounce back off. I feel like with the 65, I'm able to like receive the shuttle almost and then kind of choose where I want to place it. Obviously it's not like, you know, slow motion. It's not like an Arc Saber 11 Pro type shuttle hold, but it is like a little bit of flex. You're like a little bit of like, okay, the shuttle's coming straight. Do I want to push it back straight? Do I want to push it to the corner? Do I want to push it to the, you know, cross? Do I want to push it to the middle? I feel like I have a little bit of time in selecting, and that has like made a lot of difference when it comes to like fighting for the lift or like, you know, outmaneuvering their front player, that kind of thing. So overall, for like the front court, for nets, that kind of thing, I would choose the 65 over the 63. When it comes to like mid-court area, so not necessarily just drives, but also like, you know, like soft blocks, like pushes, all that. Again, I would choose 65. And it's because the 65, like I've said earlier in this video, maintains a lot of the repulsion properties of the 63. And, you know, we can attribute that to the forged fiber inner or whatever it may be. But basically, I feel again that the shuttle hold is helping me kind of slow down the rally if I want to. I think that when I use 65, it feels like I have optionality. It feels like I can either, you know, add force and I can push back with repulsion, or I can like slow down and play a softer shot if I want to. I feel like with the 63, whenever I played soft shots, I would like overcompensate. So especially in the midcourt, if, you know, for example, I would play a soft push, you know, I would probably do like this, because I know the repulsiveness of the 63 would make it go a lot farther than I expected. I feel like with the 65, I'm able to show a flatter face and still kind of achieve a softer touch. And it's been really nice because it's helped me, you know, maintain the attack and not just lift from situations from under the net. And again, you've got to take in count, I'm a much better player than I was when I was reviewing the 63. So of course it might just be skill as well. It might be my routine, that kind of thing. But you know, assuming that isn't a factor, I think the 65 has helped me in the mid-court as well, with, you know, either showing like a soft block, showing a fast push over the top, showing fast drives, that kind of thing. And we have, of course, the backcourt. So the backcourt for me, I think there's two things, right? There's, you know, there's nets, there's, or sorry, three things. There's late shots, late rear, late forehand, and then there's smashes, of course. So for drops, I would actually prefer the 63. And again, this is coming from a doubles mindset, considering that's what I play now a lot, especially here in the Philippines. There's not many single players, and when there are, they're not really that competent. I don't think I'm that good of a singles player. I'm definitely not built for singles, and I still, aside from my coach and aside from like, you know, varsity college players, haven't really met like a standard club player that I haven't been able to beat, which just shows you like the singles level here is not good, because I'm not good. But when it comes to drops, especially in doubles, I typically play fast drops, right? Because that's the meta. You play fast drops to the middle, or you play fast drops, you know, to the weaker opponent or whatever. And for the 63, because of the repulsion, I feel like I'm able to play a faster drop with a smaller action, and so that has been helpful in that regard. When it comes to slices though, I think I would prefer the 65 because of that little bit of touch. I remember playing a game a few days ago, and unfortunately I didn't record it, but I remember playing like this disgusting reverse slice that was like, you know, very sharp, like very fast, and like basically on the line where the doubles and singles tram lines connect. And I remember thinking like, holy shit, like could I pull this off like with the 63? And the reason why I was thinking that was because it just felt like with the 63 it would have gone a lot longer because of the repulsion. But yeah, I just like can't speak good enough things about the 65, I guess. And then when it comes to like late rear court, so basically when you're playing doubles and you're gonna have to play like emergency backhand clear, or when you're on the forehand you're playing like an emergency forehand clear or forehand drive, again I feel a lot more confident with the 65. The reason is because with the 63 I feel like, especially in the rear backhand where like my backhand technique is not as consistent as my forehand, I feel like my only option was to play a backhand clear in doubles in the rear hand, simply because like it's a super hard string and I felt like I didn't have the control necessary to play a backhand drop, or a backhand drop to the middle, that kind of thing. Definitely not a backhand drive. I still can't, and that's not the string's fault, that's user issue from me. And on the forehand I could play a forehand drive like a little from the 63. It just felt very inconsistent. It felt very stiff. And I think it has to do with the fact that you're late and I wasn't able to like fully racket prep. But with the 65, I'm playing a lot more forehand drives from the late forehand side, especially if I'm not getting to it that late, because I feel a lot more I feel a lot more powerful. I feel a lot more confident in my placement. A lot of my forehand drives from that side are a lot flatter too, so I'm not opening up the court and I'm not opening up to weaknesses. The forehand clear is a lot easier to do. On the backhand side, the backhand clears are a lot easier to do. The little bit of softness that the Elasticity Outer gives me lets me play, or gives me confidence in playing backhand drops and backhand drops to the middle as well. So basically, to recap this section, I would say basically the more forgiving nature of Exbolt 65 has given me confidence in the shots on the forehand side, and has given me more variety in the backhand side. So when it comes to smashes, I still want to side with the 65, but it's not like a landslide victory, if you will. It's still like 65 and 63. And the reason why I kind of flip-flop between the two when it comes to smashes from the very back is like, on one hand, the 65 I feel like I get more consistent shots with. I feel like my placement is better. I feel like I've been smashing a lot more straight shots like down the tram lines instead of just the middle. With the 65, because I think I'm a bit more comfortable, a bit more confident in the placement, and a bit more confident in my power production consistently. But I feel like when I'm playing on a really good day, like whether it's like I just hit the gym a few days ago and like my shoulders recovered from the medicine ball slams, or if I did like smashing drills earlier that week and then like I let my shoulder recover and like I come back stronger, like on those days where like I'm feeling fresh, like I'm feeling like yeah, like I can really hit this thing hard, I feel like the 65 lacks something. I feel like maybe I want something harder. But for majority of the time, and I think that's what we want a consistent 85% of the time string, or at least I do, because I want to like compete and play at a higher level. I think the 65 does the job and like what I needed to do, because like on those perfect days, it's not like I'm like, man, like the 65 is really holding me back. It's more like, man, I feel like when I'm using this string and I'm playing at like my 100% strength, I feel like maybe the 63 could be something a bit better. It could give me something more. And I think it's because like I'm just used to, on good days, really hitting hard string. I have no like scientific judgment on this, if that makes sense, but I think that's the only time when I would have preferred 63. The rest of the time, if I'm like training on a regular schedule with my regular workload, or if I'm playing even on a bad day, I'm gonna want 65, because that's gonna help me out a bit more than 63 has. So I guess the last thing really would be durability and then verdict. So for me, durability, 63 wasn't an issue. I've been using Exbolt 63 since basically its release, and I used it for I believe like 6-8 months, a year, maybe more. I don't remember when I came out with a review of the 63, but I've been using it since it was released until about 3 months ago, so however long that is. And very little like string breakage. I think I might have broken like 1 or 2 strings in the very beginning, and that might have been just more like stringing, sorry, not stringing, like technique issues. But like I've increased my tension from 25 to 28. I currently play at 28, and I haven't broken a string in God knows how long. And I don't know if it's technique, I don't know if it's, you know, the string, I don't know if I've just been lucky, but yeah, I didn't have any issues with 63 and 65 being based of the same material and coming in a thicker gauge. I would safely assume that 65 is more durable than 63. So of course, like again, your mileage may vary if you're a slicer, if you're a harder hitter than me, if you have, you know, bad technique. Of course, these all can contribute to string breaking, but that's what I have to say about durability. Okay, and then so verdict or summary. The 65 is an interesting string. If my assumptions of it earlier, where I said basically it's 63 with elasticity outer on the outside, are correct, I think first of all, one, that might be the first time any string manufacturer has done that. Like not necessarily a hybrid, but more of like an upgrade. And if so, like I don't understand why Yonex isn't making a bigger deal of this. They kind of just like slipped it under the radar. Assuming my assumptions are correct, right? But if not, either way, like Exbolt 65 is a great string. I think people that might have been the same boat as me, they'll absolutely love it. If you like medium strings in general, I think you'll love 65. You'll be blown away by the repulsion you get out of a softer feeling string, and you'll still get all of the, you know, properties that come with medium feeling string. More forgiveness, better touch, better control, more shuttle hold, more control, whatever. If you're coming from a harder string, I think you'll be surprised at what this string can give you. You know, if you're, you know, feeling like tennis elbow, or if your shoulder hurts and you've tried lowering your tension, maybe it's time to give medium string a go. I haven't felt tennis elbow, I'm not saying I have, but yeah, if you're wanting like something a bit more consistent, I think Exbolt 65 is the way to go. Like I feel like every time I come up with a review and like I really like the product, I just end up sounding like a shill, which is not what I want to do. I'm not sponsored by anyone. I buy all of my stuff by myself. I'm just really passionate, and when I really like a product, I really like a product. And I freaking love Exbolt 65. I think this will be like the string that I use moving forward. I am going to experiment with tensions. I might go up to 29, might try 30, because it is a medium feeling string. So I want to see what it feels like at 29 or 30. If, you know, I don't like it, I might just go back to 28. But yeah, that is my review. Please let me know like you guys' thoughts. If you guys use 63 and switched over to 65, or you know, you use 65 and you went back to 63, like please let me know why in the comments. Like I really would like to know. Yeah, let me know what else you guys want to see. And yeah, I think that's it for now. Like and subscribe, guys. See y'all.